I think that Gaza maybe is a demolition site right now. If you look at Gaza, it's all, I mean, there's hardly a building standing, and the ones that are going to collapse. You can't live in Gaza right now, and I think we need another location. I think it should be a location that's going to make people happy. You look over the decades, it's all death in Gaza. This has been happening for years. It's all death. If we can get a beautiful area to resettle people permanently in nice homes and where they can be happy and not be shot, not be killed, not be knifed to death like what's happening in Gaza. And right now you have in Gaza a very dangerous situation in terms of explosives all over the place, in terms of tunnels that nobody knows who's in the tunnel. The whole thing is a mess. And I think that if we can resettle, and I believe we can do it in areas where the leaders currently say no. I mean, I've been saying that with Mexico, having to do with the border and all of the things, and you saw what happened, 10,000 soldiers, and they're going to do a good job. I really believe that, and I believe Canada is going to do a good job also. They said the same thing, and then they did something much different than what you were hearing. This is a very, very difficult situation, but we're going to get it solved. I don't think people should be going back to Gaza. I think that Gaza has been very unlucky for them. They've lived like hell. They lived like you're living in hell. Gaza is not a place for people to be living. And the only reason they want to go back, and I believe this strongly, is because they have no alternative. What's the alternative? Go where? There's no other alternative. If they had an alternative, they'd much rather not go back to Gaza and live in a beautiful alternative that's safe. The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't.
I'm honored that you invited me to be the first foreign leader to visit the White House in your second term. This is a testament to your friendship and support for the Jewish state and the Jewish people. I've said this before, I'll say it again. You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House. And that's why the people of Israel have such enormous respect for you.
To follow up on what you were saying about the Gazans leaving Gaza, going to other countries, one, where exactly are you suggesting that they should go? And two, are you saying they should return after it's rebuilt? And if not, who do you envision living there?
I envision the world, people living there, the world's people. I think you'll make that into an international, unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable. And I think the entire world, representatives from all over the world will be there, and they'll live there. Palestinians also. Palestinians will live there. Many people will live there. But they've tried the other, and they've tried it for decades and decades and decades. It's not going to work. It didn't work. It will never work. And you have to learn from history. History has, you just can't let it keep repeating itself. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent. But more importantly than that is the people that have been absolutely destroyed that live there now can live in peace in a much better situation because they're living in hell. And those people will now be able to live in peace. We'll make sure that it's done world class. It'll be wonderful for the people. Palestinians mostly we're talking about. And I have a feeling that despite them saying no, I have a feeling that the king in Jordan and that the general president but that the general in Egypt will open their hearts and will give us the kind of land that we need to get this done, and people can live in harmony and in peace. Thank you all very much.
Shalom, Yasharala Shalom. This Sha'at Kadash Alahayim coming at you with another quick lesson. First and foremost, I like to say, Call Allah, Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, Amanawal, Barakatah. Yahweh being the name of our Heavenly Father, the Ancient of Days, the Lord of Hosts, the Almighty, and Yahweh Shai being the name of His only begotten Son, our Lord and Savior, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And as you can see in the opening clip, a strong relationship between the state of Israel and the United States of America. All right? There's a strong relationship. And it's spiritual, because the reason the relationship is so strong is because Esau Edom, who is Donald Trump, is the grandfather of Benjamin Netanyahu. Right? That's grandfather and grandson up there. When you read the scriptures, it all makes sense, man. Esau Edom gave birth to children, and his children gave birth to children. Right? And Benjamin Netanyahu is Esau's grandson. That's Amalek, according to the Bible. All right? That's why people got to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, so you can get the understanding of who these nations are according to the text. Right? So just yesterday, President Trump floated 2 bombshell ideas about Gaza that has Palestinians, Israelis, and the wider Middle East scrambling. And this is an article, right, titled, Trump says that the U.S. will take over Gaza and relocate its people. What does it mean? He's breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? That's what it means. So the first, that the U.S. would take over the territory. The U.S. would take over the Gaza Strip. Trump said in the White House press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We'll own it. We'll have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. The Riviera of the Middle East, right? The second, that Gaza's entire population would relocate to other countries. We should go to other countries of interest with the humanitarian hearts. And there are many of them that want to do this and build various domains that will ultimately be occupied by the 1.8 million Palestinians living in Gaza, ending the death and destruction and, frankly, bad luck, he said. Right? So Trump has a plan to colonize the Gaza Strip. Right? And all that territory is our homeland. The children of Israel, the true children of Israel. Right? But Amalek and Esau have a relationship that go back to the book of Genesis, man. This U.S. and Israeli relationship that we see, it goes back to the book of Genesis, right? So the U.S. and Israel relationship is deeply rooted in political, military, economic, and religious connections. While the U.S. provides massive financial and diplomatic support to Israel, the alliance is controversial, especially due to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So we're going to go into a biblical perspective on the U.S. and Israel, right? The state of Israel. So some believe the modern state of Israel is connected to biblical prophecy, while others, like us, argue that the current Israeli government is not the true biblical Israelites.
The Israel in the Bible is not the same Israel as today. And I know what you're thinking, and you're already jumping into conclusions, but hear me out. People are over here fighting and debating over a misunderstanding of what Israel actually means. They think that the modern Israel is the same as the Israel God promised in the Bible. It's not. In the Bible, Israel means 2 things. first Israel was a person. In Genesis 32, Jacob wrestled with God, literally fought him all night long. And after that, God changed his name to Israel, which means he struggles with God. Second, Israel became a nation. Jacob's 12 sons became the 12 tribes of Israel, God's chosen people. But hear this out, they were not chosen because of their land. They were chosen because of God's promise. The nation of Israel existed under kings like David and Solomon. But guess what? They lost their land. They were exiled because they turned away from God. Fast forward today, Israel was founded in 1948 as a political state. But that's not the same as biblical Israel. It's not ruled by biblical law, not everyone there is a descendant of the 12 tribes, and the land does not define God's people. Faith does. So when people think that defending modern day Israel is the same as defending God's chosen people, no, you're missing the whole point of scripture. God's Israel was never about land, but about a relationship with him.
Let's go to the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, and let's go to the 2nd verse. Because there's judgment coming to Babylon for dividing the nation of Israel. The true children of Israel, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native and Seminole Indians, is judgment on Esau and the rest of these nations. Joel chapter 3 and verse 2, and it reads, I will also gather all nations and will bring them into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Right? So that's what Trump doing right now. That's what him and the rest of them Jewish imposters doing right now. Right? They part in the Most High's land for themselves. The Most High gave us that land. Right? That was our promised land, and it was divided amongst the tribes. But as you can see right now, we got heathens. The Gentiles are trotting down our land. Right? And it's going to be that way until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. Right? So this is a warning against the USA and the other nations that's interfering with the Most High's heritage. Right? He said, I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Right? Because them not the Israeli. An Israeli is not a Hebrew Israelite. That's not Israel. Those are imposters, man. Right? When you read Revelation 2 and 9, when you read Revelation 3 and 9, you know, it says, I know those who say they are Jews but are not, but do lie. They are the synagogues of Satan. Right? They're not the real children of Israel. They're not the real Israelites. They are imposters, identity thieves. Right? They're not the biblical Israelites. Let's get that established. They are not the biblical Israelites, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning, how Esau came about. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 25 and 23. And it reads, And the Lord Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. He said unto Rebekah, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So 2 different nations are finna come out of Rebekah's womb. Right? 2 manners of people. We have 2 different mannerisms. Right? Esau them don't like to take baths. Esau them are cunning hunters. They are beasts. Right? Why Jacob is a plain man dwelling in tents. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and we are physically, mentally, emotionally stronger than the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. So Esau, Edom came out first. He's ordained to serve us, Jacob, the children of Israel. Right now it's out of whack because we in a servitude position because we broke the law, statutes, and commandments. But nevertheless, we coming back into rulership. The saints shall take the kingdom. And we take the kingdom by dropping lessons, going to the highways and byways, edifying our households, edifying our people in general. This is how we take the kingdom over, right? But the elder is supposed to serve the younger, right? So Esau Edom is in a position of rulership right now, but he's not what can I say, qualified to rule a kingdom, right? He have a childlike mentality. He don't know how to rule in righteousness. He don't know how to rule, right? But he was blessed. Nevertheless, he was blessed. He was given blessings in the book of Genesis. Let's read about that, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter and the 38th verse. Genesis, the 27th chapter and the 38th verse, and it reads, And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even also, O my father. See, this was after Jacob supplanted his blessing, by our father Isaac. He came in disguised as Esau, and he got his proper blessing, his rightful blessing, so to say, because Esau would have stole his blessing if he didn't go in there and finesse his way to his reward, right? So this is right after Isaac blessed Jacob. Esau came in wanting his blessing as well, right? From the top, 38 from the top, Genesis 27 and 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. He was crying, right? And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. And that's why you see Esau right now, he has the fatness of the earth, right? Esau got U.S. embassies all over the place, man. Esau is everywhere, right? He got the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. Because right now we are in Esau's heaven, but it's our hell because he's in rulership and we in servitude. Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword thou shalt live, right? And by thy sword thou shalt live. Nobody can go to war physically with Esau Edom because his blessing is the sword. But guess what? If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So this was his blessing, but it also going to turn into a curse for him, right? And by thy sword thou shalt live. That's why he can decimate. That's why he can decimate. That's why he can decimate Gaza with his grandson Amalek, right? He could decimate Gaza with his grandson Amalek and then come over there and claim that territory, right? That's why he could rape, rob, and murder the whole planet, and nobody does nothing because his blessing is the sword, man. This man got you bragging about your little pistol, your little rifle you got. This man got pistols and rifles that are connected to drones, man. This man could sit in his living room, fly a drone across the damn country and blow up some shit, right? Because his blessing is the sword. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break the yoke from off thy neck. Right? So he was commanded to serve Jacob or the children of Israel, but Esau, he went against the grain and, got in a position of power and put us in servitude. And the only reason that happened is because we broke the law, statutes, and commandments, and the Most High allowed him to rule over us, right? But the Most High have a hatred for Esau Edom, man. Out of all the nations on the planet, the Most High have a hatred a real hatred for this nation of people. For you Edomites, man, you so-called white folks, man. To prove that, let's go to the book of Malachi, the first chapter, and let's go to the second verse. The book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 2, and it reads, I have loved you, said the Lord Yahweh, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Right? So the Most High telling the children of Israel, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native and Seminole Indians, that he loved us. But we like, wherein hast thou loved us? When have you loved us? And it goes, was not Esau's Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord Yahweh, yet I loved Jacob and hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Right? Why did the Most High love Jacob? Because Jacob got the promises passed down to him from Abraham to Isaac, and the promises went to Jacob. The promises didn't go to Esau. So he had mercy and love for Jacob, but he hated Esau because he ordained Esau to be wicked. Right? Esau sold his birthright for a morsel of meat, man. He said, what do I have to do with this? What is this going to benefit me? What is the kingdom of heaven and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments going to benefit me? Do away with this birthright. And we got it. And the Most High loved us, man. He said, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Right? We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, the territory of wickedness, man. And the people against whom the Lord have indignation for ever. Right? So the Most High hate this nation of people. It's right here in the scriptures, man. It's right here in the scriptures. And when you go to the book of Romans, the 9th chapter and the 13th verse, Paul quoted this same precept, man. He quoted this same passage in the New Testament. So ain't no changing with the Most High, man. The Most High don't change. Right? It's the same power from the Old Testament to the New Testament. Nothing has changed, man. Right? So we got to get that understanding that the Most High hates Donald Trump, right? But he got him in a position of power, and he controlled the hearts of these kings, man. Right? So Esau's grandson is Amalek, Benjamin Netanyahu. Right? Let's go to the book of Genesis. Let's go back to the book of Genesis so we can get the understanding real quick, right? The book of Genesis, chapter 36 and verse 12. This is Amalek's origin. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. Right? So Esau had a son named Eliphaz, and Timnah was his concubine, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. Right? So Esau had sons. One of his sons named Eliphaz had a child with a concubine named Timnah, and she gave birth to Amalek. That's the false Jew-ish people that's claiming to be the true people of the Bible, but they not. Right? And there's always been war between the true children of Israel and against Amalek, which are the so-called Israelis today. Right? Let's go to the book of Exodus 17, and let's go to the 8th verse. Right? Exodus, the 17th chapter, and go down to the 8th verse, and it reads, Then came Amalek and fought with Israel. Right? Amalek is the Jewish people, and fought with Israel, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native and Seminole Indians, and Rephidim. Right? Verse 9, and Moses said unto Joshua, Choose us out of men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of the Most High in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses had said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass when Moses held up his hand that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. Right? Israel, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native, and Seminole Indians, when we went to war, Moses held up his hand and we prevailed, we prospered. And when he let down his hand, the fake Jewish imposters, they prevailed, they prospered. Verse 12, but Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side, and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua discomfited Amalek, the fake Jewish bastards, and his people with the edge of the sword. So we put them to flight, man. We put Amalek to death, man. All right, we put him to flight. We cut him down. Right? Verse 14, and the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put it on the remembrance. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi. For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Right? So the Most High, he have a hatred for Esau, Edom, and the nation of Edom. Right? And that includes Amalek, his grandson. Right? That's why that relationship that the state of Israel and America have is rooted back to the book of Genesis, to Torah. Right? So Amalek is a descendant of Esau and was Israel's most persistent enemy. The Most High commanded their complete destruction and declared perpetual war against them. So Edom and Amalek represents the opposition to the true Israel and righteousness, leading to their ultimate judgment and destruction according to prophecy. And that's what's coming, man. The Most High setting the stage for the end game. Right? We at the end. We in the final hour, man. Right? Because these people, they covet fields and they take them by violence, man. Let's get that in the book of Micah, the 2nd chapter, in the 2nd verse. All right? You don't think Amalek, Benjamin Netanyahu had his eyes on the Gaza Strip, wanting to take it over? You know what I'm saying? You don't think Esau over here in the Americas was in cahoots with that war from Jump Street, and they already had plans to do this from Jump Street? It didn't just come about on Tuesday. They've been planning this. This is his nature, man.
If you look at recent satellite pictures of Gaza's coastline, you can see the outline of a once thriving hotel and restaurant industry. Before and after images show a beachfront transformed into a sea of tents. A busy port that provided income for 10% of Gaza's population, empty. Now, people are more likely to catch fish that falls from the sky.
في علب تونة بتقع تعال وروح الإنسان بموت عشان علبة تونة لا تعادل $1.
People who lived and worked on this part of the Mediterranean coast for generations are afraid they may never be able to return and rebuild.
لا يوجد حياة معيشية في غزة للأسف. لا يوجد مياه ولا كهرباء ولا صحة.
There have been grand plans for Gaza's coast before, and even now, amid the destruction, it is a coveted slice of land.
Let's go to the book of Micah, the 2nd chapter, in the 2nd verse. And it reads, And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. That's what they did to the Palestinians, man. Right? That's what they do to everybody. To be honest, to be quite frank, they do that to everybody. They covet fields, they lust after something that don't belong to them, and they take it by violence with the sword, with his blessing. And houses and take them away. They done blew up all the damn houses in Gaza, man. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. So this speaks about the wicked Edomites or Amalekites taking land by force and oppression, which is often linked to unjust rulers and greedy individuals who exploit others for personal gain, man. But that's breaking the commandments, right? That's breaking the commandments because the commandments tell us, thou shalt not covet. You shouldn't covet your neighbor's house. You shouldn't covet your neighbor's wife, your manservant or your maidservant, or anything that belongs to your neighbor, including the field, including his land. Right? Being covetous is a sin, and it leads to more sins. When you covetous of what your neighbor got, if you covetous of your neighbor's wife, you gonna want to sleep with your neighbor's wife. Now you done committed adultery. It started with covetousness. Now it done turned to adultery. Right? Esau covet these fields. It started with lusting after these fields. Now it done turned into a genocide, man. Mass murder. Right? Now he trying to move these people landmark, and that goes against the commandments. But it's God bless America though, man. Right? The Most High warns against moving land boundaries to steal property from others, right? It's a common act of greed and deceit. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 19th chapter, in the 14th verse. Deuteronomy chapter 19, in verse 14, and it reads, Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that the Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee to possess. Right? So you're not supposed to remove your neighbor's landmark, man. You're not supposed to move their landmark. Now he's saying that it's going to be a domain for everybody in the world to come and live at after he colonize it and rebuild it. The Most High say they shall build, but I will throw down. Right? But you're not supposed to be moving landmarks. That's against the scriptures. Right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs 23 in the 10th verse. The book of Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 10, and it reads, Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is mighty. He shall plead their cause with thee. Right? So that's what's going on, man. The Most High about to plead the cause of people that's going through unjust suffering. Right? Taking land from the poor, widows, or orphans is a serious offense in the eyes of the Most High. And he gonna bring justice against that type of oppression. So Esau better be ready, man. All right, Esau moving like King Ahab when he desired Naboth's vineyard and tried to buy it, but Naboth refused because it was his family's inheritance. But Jezebel wrote a letter and got Naboth knocked off and told Ahab to take his land. And Ahab was put to death because of that, man. Right? That story is a classic example of being covetous of a field and taking it by violence, because they stoned Naboth to death. They set him up, bear false witness, and got him stoned to death so they can get that land. And they also stoned his sons, man. So the land wouldn't be passed down to the sons so they can get the land. That's the same thing was going on over there in Gaza, man. And with that, I like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, Amanawal, Barakatah. It's HOI Las Vegas. It's HOI to the chariots fly. Shalom, Yasharallah.